Hi again, this is Maura Casey, your course author. What I want to do in this short screencast is to just basically introduce you to the first module, which is called Areas of Inquiry, Women's Studies, Feminism, and Intersectionality. So while we're just looking at the module, let's talk through some of the module objectives. One of the first things I want you to do in terms of the class community is to get to know each other a little bit. It's really important in a class where we're not actually going to be seeing each other on a daily basis for you to get to know your classmates and to feel like you are part of a class and not just out there on your own trying to work through this material. So some of the things you're going to do in Module 1 are going to help you to get to know your classmates. I want you to also be able to define intersectionality, define feminism, and you're going to set up your Weebly site and begin learning how to use it. In the very first screencast in the pre-work module, I talked a little bit about that Weebly site. So in terms of feminism, if you scroll down, you'll see that there is a sort of longer PowerPoint type presentation, which you'll hear me talking through, in which I talk about my ideas about feminism and give you some things to think about when it comes to possible definitions of feminism. Intersectionality, I don't have a separate screencast on that, but that is something that you will be introduced to when you're reading Women's Studies Perspectives and Practices in the textbook, Women's Voices and Feminist Visions. So let me briefly say that intersectionality is a third wave way of thinking about feminism. In the next module, you learn about those three waves, in which we don't just think about woman as a universal category, but rather we think about how individual women may experience the problems, levels of equity or inequity in our culture as a result of various identity factors. So we take into account, when we think about intersectionality, we think about age, we think about, of course, we're always thinking about gender in relation to women's studies. We think about class, socioeconomic class status, how much money a person has and how much privilege that might give them or not give them in their culture. We think about ability in terms of being, are you able-bodied, are you disabled in certain ways that cause you to experience your world in multiple ways. And there's actually quite a variety of other factors, how educated you are. All these things can cause you to experience injustice, not just because of your gender, and inequity, not just because of your gender, but because of many multiple factors. So we think about how do those factors intersect with each other. So you think about all the aspects of your identity intersecting to affect how you experience the world. I know that might be a lot to think about right now in this screencast, but if you just kind of keep that working definition in mind for the time being, I think as you go through Module 1 and Module 2, that idea will begin to flesh itself out a little bit more. So the reading in the textbook will give you an overview of women's studies and an overview of some of the terms, some of the concepts related specifically to the idea of feminism. And then I have some more contemporary articles here about celebrities either calling themselves feminists or resisting calling themselves feminists. And I think there's kind of an interesting debate going on in popular culture right now about that. And then you can watch my feminist definition screencast to get a little bit different perspective on that as well. So once you're through all that, you really want to work on setting up your Weebly site. And you've got a whole bunch of Weebly training here. Now, are you going to be tested on all of this? Not particularly. So if you want to set up a Weebly site and just experiment with it, you might find that it is very easy for you once you've gotten your Weebly account, you've set up your account, you've gotten a website address, you've started to build your site. You might find that you don't need to go through these atomic learning modules that I've linked to here. You may find that you can figure it out all on your own. The same thing with Poplet. You're going to have an assignment related to Poplet, and you can probably figure out how to use Poplet all on your own. It's fun and it's not difficult. And then you've got the practice quiz, which will point you back towards some of the material and definitions I really want to make sure you have learned from this module. And then let's take a little bit closer look at the assignments. So assignment number 1 is going to ask you to take the word feminism and kind of free associate with it by creating that Poplet. So a Poplet is just a kind of a word web. Many of you are probably familiar with it. Some people call it mapping, mind mapping, that sort of thing. And what I want you to do is kind of get out all your thoughts, stereotypes, past knowledge, and ideas associated with feminism. Don't try not to edit yourself too much here. Just try to kind of get it all out. Then you're going to save your Poplet as a PDF. This will be fairly easy to do when you're on the Poplet website. And then you're going to share your Poplet on the Feminism Poplet forum. And there's a link to that forum down here. So and you have a deadline for this by 5 p.m. on Friday of the first week of class. So you want to make sure that you keep these deadlines in mind. And then by Tuesday of the second week of classes, you're going to read and respond to at least 5 other student Poplets. And remember that your responses are, in fact, graded. So you want to think about responding thoroughly and fully and substantially to your peers to give them feedback on these things. Assignment number 2 is going to have you setting up a Weebly site and introducing yourself to the class. So we talked a little bit about setting up your Weebly site. When you create an About page in your Weebly site, this is the site where you're going to introduce yourself. It's basically a biographical site. If you do not necessarily want to make this page be public, so it's really important to us that you know that you can set up all of these assignments so that they are not publicly accessible. And so if you don't want this page to be public, you're going to go into the Pages menu on the top tabs of Weebly, go into your About page, and then adjust the settings by clicking on Hide the Page in the navigation menu, and then go into advanced settings and hide the page from search engines. So that way your page will exist out there, but nobody will be able to find it unless they have the specific URL. And then you're going to copy and paste the URL for your About page into the Weebly About Pages forum, which I've linked to down here. So if you follow all these steps really carefully, this may seem like a lot, but it's all going to be fairly easy for you to do. And these are just some basic assignments to help us get to know each other and to start talking about feminism and its definitions. Down here you'll see I have the Module 1 assignment checklist. So you're going to make sure that you've completed all the readings, watched all the videos, and taken the practice quiz. You've posted your Feminist Poplet to the Feminist Poplet forum. You then responded to 5 of your classmates' feminism Poplets. You've posted the URL to your Weebly About page in the forum. And then please make sure that you do respond on the forum to all of your classmates' Weebly About pages. This is really important because if we were introducing each other in class face to face, you would be hearing from everybody. So you would hear a little something about everybody. So it is your responsibility to make sure that you read everybody's About page so that you know who all of your classmates are and that you respond to all of them. Because this is quite a bit of work, there are a lot of people in this class, you don't have to respond at great length to everybody's Weebly About pages, but you need to provide some kind of response that demonstrates that you have read it.